Mario Kart World has some serious problems, and I'm gonna describe all of them, but I'm gonna start off with a metaphor. You own a omelet shop, and you put out an omelet. It's Mario 8 Deluxe. Everybody loves it. It's by far the best omelet in the world, and there's no competition. Um, at the competition awards, you win all of them, right? So next year, instead, you decide, hey, we gotta be better. So you're like, we want to make some improvements. Um, you tinker with a perfect recipe, right? But you go very drastically. So instead of tomatoes, you use a paste. Instead of the mushrooms you used last time, you use truffle oil. And changing a recipe that's perfect isn't a bad thing if the omelet still tastes good. The problem here is the omelet tastes terrible. Like they made all these what should be improvements, but instead of being improvements, they're actually setbacks. So before I get to that, let's start off with the speed. The speed is too slow. You saw that Sonic commercial where they make fun of Mario Kart, where it's like they're in an old school camper. The problem is, I get that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe started off slow too, but you should have learned from that mistake, because in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, what ended up happening at the end was 150 was way faster than 150. It was 200 plus, and if you did the math calculations, 200cc was more like 400 plus cc. And here, no, it's 150cc and 200cc. So the speed is one thing, it's very slow, and two, you think you made some improvements, right? Let's make it open world. Let's make the world huge. The problem is, and we saw that Sonic commercial making fun of him because it's in a camper, but they could have made fun of him by showing a boat too. And what do I mean by that? The courses, yes, although they're a lot bigger in their open world, a lot of the times you're just going straight. It's not a race, it feels more like a camping trip. And the same thing with the water missions. The water's for too long, the water's heavy, it's boat like, you're so slow and you're going straight. Sonic can make another advertisement making fun of the open water. Don't even get me started about the transition maps. In in idea, it sounds amazing, right? Oh, you're gonna go from one track to the other, but instead it's supposed to be a Grand Prix, not a road trip. This should be called Mario Kart Road Trip because it's so slow. And everybody I know hates those transition maps, and you can't even pass them online. But I'm gonna wait to get to online because there's so much improvement they could have done with online. So not only is it slower, the maps don't have the same. There's a lot of even Rainbow Road. Okay, I get you have to drive to Rainbow Road, but all of Rainbow Road is not one consistency. It feels like 2 to 3 different maps in the race. So another upgrade, let's talk about it. An upgrade that feels more like a setback is the 24 racers. We went from 12 to 24. Hypothetically, 24 sounds great, but the way it was done was executed poorly because it's so slow. Oftentimes, it's just people in the middle item spamming and then bullet, 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 bullet. And you're like, well, you complain about I'm complaining about the speed because it's so easy to get first in a 150cc single player. If you don't get first every single time, you're not very good at Mario Kart. I am also not a big fan of the grinding mechanism. Like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't feel good. The drifting doesn't feel as good in this game. Not a big fan of the in between races, and you don't really have an. Okay, let's talk about online. Online has taken a numerous step back. One is that it used to be perfect. You get in a lobby, you vote on a map, and your me is in the lobby. It took no more than 30 seconds to like a minute max, right? And you vote, you pick which is best. You can see the person's name and you can see what country they're playing in. And I personally loved the feature of even when you're racing, you could see a flag of the country. You get to know who you're playing with. Great Nintendo experience, something I loved. In Mario Kart 9, or Mario Kart World rather, they overhauled that completely to where it can take 5 to 10 minutes to, yes, you can drive around now. but it's not a race. It's super slow. It feels like you're just driving around a map, open world, which is not, it's a terrible execution. And it can take 5 to 10 minutes to vote on a map. Sometimes you don't have an option but to vote for it in between track. And you get rid of what flag the country, like the country the person is from. I didn't even mention the character selection. I don't mind that it's not as many characters. My problem is that every character has its own selection for a different outfit, which is I didn't mind how they did it in Deluxe, where Mario and Metal Mario was separate. But other than that, why is there like 100 costumes for every character and it's a different character screen? That makes the selection screen way too long. Out of every Mario Kart I've ever played, this is by far my least favorite. I would much rather go back and play Deluxe, 8 Deluxe, which is crazy to say. I'm not gonna nitpick about the kart customization. Sometimes this game can be drastically boring and it's just straight roads, I'm not a big fan of the water racing in this at all. It feels like you're on a heavy boat that's super slow. There are certain things that I like, where if you get a shell, you don't have to press the trigger to hold on to it. That's a nice addition. And unfortunately, this poor entry has allowed Sega to take advantage, because I see a lot of people really enjoying the new the Sonic Racing game. Also, I don't feel like the skill is there for this game. And what do I mean by that? Just stay in with the middle crowd, and at the end, spam whatever mushroom you get. You're guaranteed to get first through third. It's actually better to stay in the middle, get some items towards the end, and boom. Never in my life would I consider not playing a Mario Kart game, let alone playing a Sonic game. But I don't feel like going back to Deluxe now that there's a new game. It's making me inclined to at least give Sonic a chance. Not every game has to be open world, and this was a bad decision. I felt like they tried to differentiate too much away from 8 Deluxe, and this was to their detriment, because 8 Deluxe was a fantastic game. All you needed was maybe add a little bit more, and I don't mean open world, I mean just add a few tweaks, maybe add in some new items, do little things to make it feel like a new game, which could be courses, new characters, kart customization. I know people like the wall ride. Me personally, I don't like it. Also, the air feels very off. I missed the umbrella on the top of the car. Now it just feels like you're getting air, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger. I like when you could glide in the air, but you had the option to glide down if you wanted to race. And it's not that they tinkered with the recipe that was a success in all Mario Karts. It's more so it doesn't feel like a Grand Prix. It feels like a road trip. Like that commercial that Sega made would make no sense for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but Nintendo did this to themselves. They released a game where not only could Sega make one, they could take shots at your game for being slow, for feeling like you're on a open track road.